Okay, so I am definitely getting into the thick of it again with the AI news and the legal issues around copyright and with AI generative music. And along with all of these topics, of course, I got amazing, beautiful, wonderful comments from many of you guys, including many of you that disagree with me or I think maybe misunderstand my position here. So I wanted to just make one video to try to really clarify where I'm at because either some of you aren't watching my full videos, so you're not really getting the full scope of what I'm saying about what my position is on AI and generative music and the legal concerns around it, or I'm not being clear enough. So I'll take responsibility maybe for that being part of the equation here. So I'm going to try to really be clear in this video if you're interested in what my actual position on AI music is. So I've been talking about AI on this channel on and off for about a year. When I first started, I was certainly alarmed. I wanted to make sure you guys were fully aware that even though music back then was really bad and not that high quality, that I thought and assumed correctly that it was going to increase much faster than we anticipated. And sure enough, here we are just 1 year later, and we pretty much are at the point where these models are generating something that almost could pass for a human being. It's not exactly quite there, but we are 90% there. I mean, we are basically right at the finish line here. So by the end of this year, you can guarantee we're going to cross that finish line at some point. And so back then, I was generally net positive on AI, thinking that we could do amazing things for humanity across the board, you know, much bigger than entertainment or just music or sync. But that I also had some concerns about how are these models getting their data, because Music LM from Google wasn't being transparent about it. OpenAI, when they were having their interaction in Congress, wasn't being transparent about it. And that was definitely something I talked about with many data scientists and just made videos about on this channel. And fast forward a year now, has my position changed from that? Not at all. I'm exactly where I was back then. Net positive on AI, still think it's going to be an amazing tool for us to radically enhance and better our lives in many different factors, from education to medicine to communication and therapy and you name it, customer service. We are going to radically improve the experience of our lives, I think, as a result of this technology. So I'm still net positive on that. I'm still open and curious and interested in how AI can enhance us as music creators and in the sync licensing business. So that hasn't changed. The one thing that might feel like a change is I've definitely amped up my scrutiny of for-profit companies now, no longer hiding behind the scenes of, well, it's just a research project. We're just behind the scenes. It's not public facing and we're not really doing anything to disrupt anybody. We're just testing to see what these models can do. That's what we were hearing from these big tech companies back then. But now you've got the Sunos and Udios. Udio isn't doing anything for profit yet, but I put my money on it'll be by the end of this year, they're going to have a subscription service that you can pay to get some sort of benefit or extra features of their service, right? So now we're in this new phase where it's for-profit models that are releasing music to the public, charging people for it, obviously increasing their bottom line and having a for-profit business, and still not disclosing where they're getting their data. But as we've talked about many times already, I think the writing's on the wall where they're getting this data, where I think it's likely they're getting this data. And it's probably, can't prove it, but very likely from copyrighted sources of music that have not been granted consent, hasn't granted consent to these companies, and definitely these companies haven't compensated any of the copyright owners. And the reason why they think they can get away with this is that fair use defense, which I detailed in the last video. I'll link that below if you guys missed that one. I think I make a pretty solid case for why I don't believe that will be a strong defense for them when these lawsuits and these court cases start to bubble up, which you know they're going to be coming up soon. So I'm still pretty much the same place where I was a year ago, but now, you know, as times have changed and this landscape is changing, I'm changing my tone as well. And I think that's a very reasonable, rational thing to do. The analogy I like to use, and maybe this will help those of you that maybe don't quite understand my specific point of view. AI is like a rocket ship, and it's shiny and it's bright and it's beautiful, and rocket ships can take us out of the atmosphere to the moon, to Mars, to the end of our galaxy, maybe to the end of the universe, who knows, right? And I love that, and I want to say, go AI rocket ship. I want to see you go there. But what does every rocket ship need? In order to lift off the ground, even to get up 1 millimeter off of the ground, what does every rocket ship need? Fuel. High quality, good, reliable fuel that it can count on, that can give it that energy to lift up. Well, in this analogy, the fuel is our data. It's our music. It's our creativity. It's our hard work. It's all the years of training, of trial and error, of banging our head against our keyboards, of being perfectionists. It's just all the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into our music collectively. I'm speaking for all music makers on earth. That is the high quality data. That's the fuel that all these AI companies are going to need to get their rocket ship to lift off the ground. So I'm saying, in a nutshell, let's go to Mars. Let's go to the end of the universe. Let's see how far we can push the sucker. Take us on the ride with you, though. Don't just suck up all of our fuel without asking for it and without paying for us for it, and then taking your little rocket ship off into Mars without us with you. That feels like theft. I'm just telling you, that's just how it feels. Now, how it feels is irrelevant to the laws, but I still think that even in a rational analyzing of the current copyright laws with fair use, I still think there's a strong case for why they're not going to get away with just taking and scraping data off the internet. But we won't get into that in this video. So anyways, hopefully that gives you an overview of my nuanced view. There tends to be this kind of dichotomy that people put, because we tend to want to put people in camps. We want to judge people in terms of, are you this side or that side? And of course, there's this kind of massive, ridiculous dichotomy of like, you're either pro AI, meaning you're for AI companies doing anything they want, scraping any data, training anything, putting it out there, making as much money as they can, or you are a Luddite and you want to send us back to the Stone Age. And when you think you're going to shut down like all technology and turn off the internet and turn off LLMs, these are childish camps that like, these are childish distinctions that obviously nobody is probably in either one of those. Like no single human being is probably in either one of those. We're all somewhere in the middle. I'll tell you, I am much more closer to let's go for it with AI than I am on slowing things down, putting a pause on things. I'm not actually at all on that side of the equation. I'm much more on this side, but I do want to make sure that we're not just sort of destroying. It's kind of like we're going to to the ends of the universe, but then we're destroying the human spirit in the process of doing that. Like we got to be very thoughtful and mindful of what we're doing here with AI technology. And I think there can be a bright future where if you see an AI company that has generative music and they're allowing, democratizing and allowing anybody to be creative with music and generate whatever music they want. And at the same time, that the artists that help supply the data for that AI model are getting paid and compensated as a revenue share model, not a one-time fee, not a one-time, they got paid one time back in, 2024. And we're thinking we're in the future here and that's it. No, they're every single month or every single quarter, they're getting a small cut of the revenue of this company. To me, that's a bright future I can get excited about. So I am pro AI and I'm also pro copyright owners and shareholders and artists and music creators and human creativity, okay? So it's a bit nuanced. And if you're trying to put me in one of these two different camps, I just don't fit into those two different camps. So I want to make sure that that was hopefully clear on where I stand with this, okay? There's also this kind of fear out there of being called a Luddite or being called a sort of anti-technologist if you scrutinize AI companies. And I just want to tell you guys that you have every right to scrutinize anybody you want to, and it doesn't make you anti-technology or stuck in your old ways or thinking about like, oh, we got to go back to the good old days before we had a lot of technology. Like, that's not true at all. You can be pro-technology and still scrutinize the companies and the businesses and the people that build businesses around the AI technology. Those are absolutely consistent. It's not hypocritical to criticize and basically point out some inconsistencies and maybe some illegal potential dealings and some things that are violating, at least let's say, copyright law or something you interpret as a violation of copyright law. There's nothing wrong with having that sort of nuanced position. So I want to give you guys permission to feel, if you do feel that way, you can absolutely voice those concerns and opinions. And if anybody does come to you and say like, and I've got that leveled at me a couple times, well, Jesse, you just want to shut down technology. You just want to shut down LLMs. It's like, I can't have a conversation with you. You're not even like close to what I feel about this. So thanks for your thoughts, but no thanks. Like I got to deal with people who actually are talking to me at my level of where I'm actually at and really hearing me out here. So this video, I think, should be pretty clear to make sure that everybody understands at least where I'm at and hopefully where you guys are at as well. And I just also have to point this out as well. I have every right to change my opinion on any of this stuff as new information and the situation evolves. So I will have no shame in like a week or a month. I come on here and go like, guys, I'm changing my tune on this. This is actually how I feel about it now. That's not being a hypocrite. That's not being a sort of flip-flopper. That's being a human being and growing and learning and adjusting and not being so religiously tied to a certain point of view, because the world right now is changing and changing very quickly. So we also need to be changing and changing quickly. And there are times where we need to hold on to principles. We need to hold on to what we feel is valuable and what we think is the right thing to do. But when new information comes in that starts to rattle those opinions or start to shake things or make us feel like, I'm not sure I'm feeling the same way about this anymore, that's usually a sign that there's growth right ahead of you. So fair warning, I might be changing my opinion on anything in the next year. And that's okay for me to do. And that's okay for you guys to do as well. We are all figuring this out as we go. There are really no experts on any of this. That's the sort of sobering truth. I'm starting to realize that, there's AI, data scientists, there's lawyers, but everybody's sort of trying to understand this new technology in the best way that they know with their own biases and filters, myself included. I've got my own biases and I've got my own filters. So we're all doing our best. So I just wanted to leave you with this video on that note of you have every right to change your opinion, feel how you want to feel, go in whatever direction you want to go in. With that being said, there are essentially, this is a very challenging time for us, and not, we're going bigger and more broader than just sync or stock licensing. Of course, whether or not our industries survive this, that's what we're kind of waiting to see. But I think also just generally and more broadly as music makers, we are facing an existential crisis, right? Of, do I even need to make music anymore? Should I even make music anymore if the technology is there? Let's say we go into that bright future where music creators are being credited, they are being, compensated. So it's best case scenario. Even in that best case scenario, some people will still feel like if a computer can do it in 30 seconds and it takes me a week to do it, why even bother? And that is definitely going to be a fork in the road for all of us to have to go through. I have personally been thinking about that often throughout the last year. Playing with some of these models where you can create basically a full decent sounding song by just texting it in makes you second guess yourself easily. Like you'd have to not have a heartbeat if you don't feel that way. You're definitely going to feel that way when you see a computer do what it can do. But I don't think all hope is lost, and I'm going to make some new videos in the next week or two, talking with some other YouTubers here about this, as well as giving my own personal take as to what gives me hope for the future, for why I will continue to make music, why many of you, I think I've already made that decision that you will. But really, I really want to try to reach those of you that are struggling with it right now, or maybe have already given up. I know that there's a good number of you that have already just kind of thrown in the towel on making music because it just feels too daunting with AI right here. And that's really disheartening. And it just kind of breaks my heart to hear those stories. You have every right to make that decision. I don't want to challenge you or question you or saying you're making the wrong decision. But I do find that there could be a place for me to try to speak to those of you that are kind of in that camp where you're really struggling with the sort of general feeling of futility of what's the point of even going on making music. I think there is a really very, very clear, compelling reason why we should continue to make music from ourselves to each other, communicating with each other through this art form. But we obviously all have to make that choice for ourselves. So just letting you know, more content's coming, more videos are coming. We're going to talk more about this. If there's anything in this video that you felt was unclear about where my position is on AI, post it below. Obviously being respectful, I appreciate that. I'll be happy to have a conversation with you.